In this next article from NPR, Trump addressing far-right conspiracy offers praise for its followers. This is lunatic, dude. We need to defund NPR, dude. NPR is lunatic. These people don't represent me. They take my tax money and they support positions that I do not support. Whoa, what's going on with the autofocus? I absolutely do not support the labeling of things like QAnon as far right, because this, first off, factually, this is absolute insanity. Look up left-right politics on Wikipedia. I'm not going to go too far into it because I do actually go over this a lot. Wikipedia is a bunch of it is propaganda for Marxists. It has been compromised. I am the founder of WikiSpy, a tool to monitor Wikipedia or wiki-like sites for tampering by hostile actors and political bias. And I've looked through a lot of these contributions from a lot of Wikipedia authors, and they're sketchy, man. They're definitely sketchy. There's definitely some spies up in here. I can tell you how they do espionage. They start articles on people they want to do espionage. All the politicians are updating their pages, and the Chinese Nazi Party is monitoring all the politicians on the internet via Wikipedia. Left versus right historically has always meant flat versus steep hierarchy. And on the farthest left, conceptually, is communism, which has a 4-tier hierarchy: farmers at the bottom, artisans, and then government, or soldiers, and then government. Kind of sounds pretty kooky to me. All right. Then on the farthest right, conceptually, is National Socialism, where you have ultra-ethno-nationalism, private property. You have a fierce competition for the top of the hierarchy. Then in between there, the misconception is that there's capitalism and democracy. This is not true. This left versus right thing, first, it grew up out of the French Revolution, and then it was weaponized by the Nazis and the communists, and they turned it into propaganda. And then in the 90s, a guy named Rush Limbaugh changed left-right to mean left is liberal and right is conservative. And when we did this, it doesn't mean the same thing, because conservatism, by this definition, is different in every country. In America, we have what is called American conservatism. And American conservatism is absolutely not the same thing as conservatism in Muslim countries. I'm sorry, my camera is going whack. What's going on? Oh, right. I know what's going on with the camera. It's the autofocus. I'm right at the edge of the camera. So if I go over just a little bit like here, we won't have to deal with that. So the people think that far right means like Nazi, and then the Europeans have been going ape shit, and they've been buying into all this Chinese Nazi Party rhetoric. And so they've expanded the definition of far right to include pretty much anybody who is an enemy of China. So let's look up far right on Wikipedia. So it's historically meant extreme nationalism. They're saying nativist, but I'm not going to believe them on that. Nativism, if you ever go to Hawaii, like the natives who live in Hawaii don't like tourists. I, too, also don't really like tourists. I get along very well with Hawaiians because I'm from Eugene, And I like to go to festivals and rainbow gatherings. And I used to back in the day. And before, when I was a brainwashed radical feminist, if they were cool with me, I'm still going to be cool with them. I'll still go out to a rainbow gathering and eat some LSD out in the woods and end up naked out somewhere with some hippie chick smoking some weird drugs. Sign me up. There are titties there. You might have to poop in a hole, but it is interesting. So, so historically, it's been used to describe fascism and Nazism, and today includes neo-fascism, neo-Nazism, third position, alt-right, white nationalism, other ideologies, organizations that feature aspects of ultra-nationalist, chauvinist, which means patriotic, xenophobic, theocratic, racist, homophobic, anti-communist, or reactionary views. And reactionaries is a catch-all for anybody. What are they saying? Somebody who holds points of views that are favoring to previous political states of society they believe possess positive characteristics absent in contemporary society. So if you think that the feminists went ape shit, and they bananas because they think they're underpaid when they own almost 2/3 of the wealth in the country, holding almost 2/3 of the college degrees, they control 85% of consumer spending. They're buying 92% of new homes. They obviously can't be underpaid because men work 50 minutes more than they do per day. So the numbers should be flip-flopped. It should be the other way around, given by how much extra men work and by how many businesses they start. But they say that the women are discriminated against because they start 17% of startups. But what they don't tell you is that they own 43% of businesses. So there's obviously a discrepancy between the number of businesses that they start and the number of businesses that they own. But this makes you a reactionary. This makes you far right because you are against communism. Yes, I'm very much so against communism. I think that we should take out Xi Jinping, the dictator who looks just like Winnie the Pooh. And if you are unaware of what I am talking about, just look up Xi Jinping, Winnie the Pooh, and then look at images. And then you can see, yes, indeed, Xi Jinping does look almost just like Winnie the Pooh. It is actually true. And he does not like it when you refer to him as Winnie the Pooh. And in fact, they actually banned Winnie the Pooh from China because this is how spineless and weak these people are. They have to ban Winnie the Pooh. I'm sorry, that's bananas. That's ape shit. That's cray. That's stupid. Absolutely hateful. It's detestable. They absolutely should not be doing that. We need to overthrow Winnie the Pooh and take out the Chinese Nazi Party and bring democracy to Hong Kong and Taiwan and I don't know enough about what's that other one? It has the monarchy. Thailand? Yeah. I don't know enough about them to comment on that. They have been protesting against the monarchy over there recently, but I couldn't imagine that would be a very good thing to do, but that's what they've been doing. So when these crazy leftists over at NPR are taking your tax money, they're using it in order to favor one political candidate. So we definitely need to defund NPR. I'm not going to go over the QAnon thing. I already went over QAnon before in the show. QAnon is not a far-right conspiracy theory. So first off, let's go by the definition of far-right here. what are they saying in the QAnon thing? They're saying that there's like a network of people who are using sex trafficking networks. And in Washington, D.C., a lot of people use hookers. And then they're saying that they've been compromised by foreign assets who are blackmailing certain politicians and government agents. And we have Jeffrey Epstein. So we also have the Steele dossier, which makes claims that Donald Trump did the golden showers with hookers in a hotel in Russia. It was in St. Petersburg. The one, because they bed that they had the hookers pee on a bed that Obama had slept on. And the FBI presumes that this is disinformation. Michael Cohen has a book that says this is not disinformation, but Michael Cohen is an absolute liar. He's in jail for being a liar. He knows he's not getting a pardon from Trump, so he's trying to disrupt the election with a fake book in order to make money and to hope that the next president might give him a pardon. So which ones of these is it, this QAnon thing? So they're saying that there's a corrupt group of people that are interfering with our democracy, that there's underage girls in there, which statistically speaking, if there's an 18-year-old hooker, you'll find a 17-year-old hooker. And if you find a 17-year-old hooker, you'll find a 16-year-old hooker near her in her friend group, and so on down the line. So that one is what? Neo-fascist, neo-Nazism. Is that one? Third position, alt-right. What is alt-right? What are they saying alt-right is? They're saying it's anything on the right that they don't like, right? Loosely connected far-right white nationalist movement based in the United States. So what they're saying is the alt-right is people who want to enforce their border policies. They're saying these people from the Unite the Right rally. And I will say that this dude definitely looks like a cuck. He definitely looks like he's having troubles with the women. Unsure exactly why anybody would support National Socialism. I'm unsure why these people have Confederate flags. Is it a Southern heritage thing? The reason why these people were protesting in this Unite the Right rally was something about immigration, I do believe. I don't know exactly what the thing was. No. Oops. They said it took place in Charlottesville, Virginia. Far-right self-identified members of neo-Confederates, neo-fascists, white nationalists, neo-Nazis, Klansmen, variety of other right-wing militias. They chanted racist anti-Semitic slogans. It was pretty detestable. What else was it? But why were they there? I know some Nazis showed up, but this is the misconception, was that just because Nazis showed up to this event, that this then made it a far-right thing. That's like saying that just because some gangsters showed up to a house party, that it was a gangster party. That really is functionally identical to that. This is the, liberals they do this a lot. They make these assumptions based on what they think happened from an external perspective, and in reality, they miss some details and they have it backwards. I'm not going to go too far into that. I do believe it was an immigration protest. So they're trying to say that Donald Trump's bowing down to the QAnon conspiracy theory nuts. And this is absolutely undemocratic in any way, every way, shape, or form. Just because you believe in this theory does not mean that you have any sort of less or more credibility than a Democratic scientist who's twacked out on anti-anxiety and antidepressants. Because there are a lot of those. You think that these scientists are just completely mentally there? No. They're like working so hard. They're like so isolated from being a nerd that they are breaking down and they're doing all kinds of weird drugs suppositorily. They are absolutely a wreck at home. And then at work, they're scientists. And then you just think, okay, this dude's just like the smartest person in the world. They know everything because they got a degree. And then as it turns out, they just think they know everything because they took some class in college. And in reality, they don't actually work in that field. And they thought they knew what they were talking about. But in reality, they had it backwards. Because this actually happens a lot. I'm an engineer and I've been an armchair manager. I have said the opposite of the truth and argued it pretty fiercely. This is how I've become much more humble over the years and recognized that if I believe that I am completely right and that there's no way that the other person can be right because I know this because I took a class in college, that's typically a red flag. You know that you're right because you're all of the facts lead to the same conclusion. And oftentimes you will not realize that for some number of days or weeks until after the argument. So after you've done that enough times, eventually you see the pattern. You're like, okay, I just made a fool out of myself trying to pretend like I knew everything. And I didn't. And it was pretty embarrassing. And then eventually you stop pretending like you know everything. And then you actually act smart. But sad. Sorry, the mic went out. Something with the USB hub. Luckily, OBS works pretty good. So we still have audio. What was I saying about QAnon? Oh, the apeshit scientist. 86% of scientists vote for Democrats. They engage in notorious groupthink. A lot of them have depression, anxiety problems, and they're on anti-anxiety and antidepressants. So your faith in these scientists is greatly misplaced. Trust me, they're very dogmatic. They don't want to question reality because they work in a authoritarian structure. You go to work, there's higher ups, they have a power structure. They utilize the 48 laws of power without even knowing what they are because they're very powerful people. They will jump on anyone who talks back to the master or appears to be. If you challenge the power structure, you will be thrown out quite quickly. And this causes a lot of very smart people to behave incredibly foolishly. It's just an element of human nature. You should read Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature and the 48 Laws of Power and Mastery. And what are the other good ones that he has? Those are the ones that I've read. And Robert Greene will he will explain in detail exactly how toxic these people are. You think they're just perfect people, but in reality, they are glowing radioactive toxic, radioactive scale toxic. And it's because they work in an authoritarian power structure. And when you are in authoritarian structures, you become brainwashed. I run my own business, so I do not have people brainwashing me. In fact, I am very happy that I got kicked out of the ivory tower because I absolutely detest what the left is doing. They are trying to shut down free speech. Facebook recently, I forget how many groups they deleted on Facebook. It had like millions, or 200,000 members in there on Facebook. And then they booted I think it was some number of millions of accounts that were QAnon accounts. They shut them down, and it's these Facebook scumsuckers. They're the worst, man. All these people in Silicon Valley are corrupted. They're not good people anymore. Like back in the day, they used to be good people, and then they had multiple generations of corrupt people, and they took over, and it's a cesspool of rotten leftist scum down there in Silicon Valley. And they control the tech industry, and they shut down our free speech, and they cancel you, and they trigger mobs and riots on your streets, and then you have to pay for it, and your business then gets shut down while Mark Zuckerberg gets to rake in the billions and billions of dollars with Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, and they're all working with the Chinese. Well, hold on. Zuckerberg's not working with the Chinese. Facebook can't sell in China, which kind of, I don't understand why it doesn't seem like he's more on the side of free speech. I don't know if he's faced with an impossible job with the European anti-hate speech laws, but I do feel like he is in part of a cabal of people who from Ivy League universities who are attempting to control our political system. They probably have been controlling our political system. I have been censored a number of times on Facebook. We covered that on the 2 episodes ago of Real Simple News with Coffee. I just got also 2. Oh, wait. I do actually have to put that out. Wait, we have another story here, because I'm talking about it. In this next article from Facebook, from Cale McCullough's profile, sorry. I was censored again on Facebook. This says, your comment goes against our community standards on spam. And then I said, in response to a friend, well, hold on, Devin, I don't know that person. To somebody that was commenting on somebody else's post, it says, that is completely untrue. They were talking about Breonna Taylor. So that was completely untrue. You've fallen victim to a game of telephone between ivory tower liberal journalist scum. The Courier Journal is one of the primary sources cited on Breonna Taylor. They got the right house. Taylor had an arrest warrant, being suspected of handling drugs and money. Cops knocked on the door because they knew they had the suspect in custody. And if you click on the article, I can't select it and open it up, but if you want to go to that article, you'll see that Breonna Taylor was dating narcotics traffickers, and the cops knocked on the door because they knew they had the suspect in custody, and they clearly announced themselves, and Breonna Taylor's boyfriend shot through the door, and then the police shot them, and it's suspected that they thought they were being robbed by people who were pretending to be police, because that's the only thing that makes sense. And then they're rioting over this. Let's see. I have to get this done as soon as possible. What else do we have in here? It was most of the stuff that I had to cover. Here in this next article from the New York Post, Minneapolis lawyer wants cop client cleared, claims George Floyd overdose on fentanyl. The attorney for one of the 4 Former Minneapolis police officer charged in the death of George Floyd is alleging that client Thomas Lane should be cleared because Floyd overdosed on fentanyl while resisting arrest. All four were fired from the Minneapolis Police Department after Floyd's death. Gray previously filed 2 body-worn camera videos that were evidence to dismiss the charges. He had 11 nanograms of fentanyl in his system for every milliliter. 0.75 nanograms per milliliter is a lethal dose. That's 14 lethal doses. This is why you're innocent until proven guilty. Because if you're not, we'll have race riots from Democrats. They will burn your city down, destroy your downtown area. They will cause the minorities to become permanent underclasses because they're ivory tower liberals. What else do you expect from people who will tell you anything to get you to like the post? Watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them.